Our Story Productions presents Martin County on TV, spotlighting the organizations, businesses, and citizens who are making a difference in our community today. And with interviews and stories done by local television shows over the last 25 years, here you're sure to learn more about the county we call home. Get ready for This is Martin County on TV.
Martin County on TV, talking business.
Hi, I'm Jeff Rouse, executive producer, Our Story Productions, here with another episode of Martin County on TV with special guests. Tell us who you are.
Brooke Wohlrabe.
And Charlie Sorrells.
And Brooke, what do you do?
I'm a news reporter for the Sentinel.
Charlie?
I am the sports editor and take care of all the sports.
So the two of you work together?
That's correct.
And how's that go?
She picks on me a lot.
Great. So we're excited to have you here, and both of you, we feel, are doing an awesome job for our community. Brooke, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got in the business, and what you look for in the stories that you do.
I'm from Fairmont. I graduated in 2011, went to college in the cities, got my degree in communications and journalism. Never thought I'd move back home, but I heard there was an opening at the Sentinel, and I thought I'd give it a try. So I started in 2017.
And what is your position? I know you're a writer, but what do you look for in a story? What type of thing are you looking for all the time? Or maybe even some of your favorites that you would like as far as categories?
Yeah, it's interesting being from here because I've learned a lot about Fairmont that I never knew about. So I cover the schools a lot, learning how classes come to be, who pays for what. That's stuff you don't think about when you're a student. I do a really wide range of stories. I cover city council, county commissioners, school board, feature stories, human interests, accidents.
Now your feature stories, and is there something you're kind of looking for? Obviously, you're looking for something to be of interest to the people reading the paper. But is there something you would say that would make a good story in a category or a subject matter?
I mean, it's pretty loose. I mean, something we say has to be new, or it's not news. So any, achievement someone's gotten, a new business venture, just any cool story really that people would be interested in. Okay,
awesome. And Charlie, I know tell us a little bit about yourself, because I know you're fairly new at the Sentinel, is that correct?
That's correct. I'm only going on my 32nd year at the Sentinel.
31 years.
Yep.
Wow.
I told my godparents when they moved me here, I'd be here 3 years. So take that almost times 11 now.
Wow.
So, I grew up in West Central Illinois. Bushnell is my hometown. I'm so old that they've renamed my university since I graduated from there. I graduated from Northeast Missouri State University in Kirksville, Missouri, but now they call it Truman State University. You donate $10 million and they'll rename it whatever you want. So,
that's perfect.
So basically I've covered the area sports teams. We cover at the varsity level and take a few pictures once in a while, and got to plug Greg Abel. He does a great job part-time for us, and he really makes our section great.
So when you do the sports stories and everything, do you have certain categories or your favorites, or do you enjoy all aspects of different sports?
Yeah, I get asked that question quite a bit, and I don't think I have always told Matt Mahoney, I think probably basketball might be my favorite, but I enjoy all of them. I've covered. There's not a sport I do not cover. So.
Is there a difference you've been here 31 years? Is there a difference in covering a sports event now compared to either in writing or any other direction than it was, say, 25, 30 years ago?
No, I mean not really, and that's part of. I mean now maybe if you're at a state tournament or a section tournament, take a laptop and type it and email it. But outside of that, it's been pretty much the same.
The internet. You're in the paper business. How has or should the internet affect your positions?
Well, we do have a website and we have a Facebook page and we have an e-edition.
Okay.
And we put all of our stories that are in the print version on all of those platforms as well.
And so tell me how this affects you personally as far as your jobs and how you compare what you do to what we see online.
I would say local journalism is very important. I mean, we're trained in what we do, you know, and we go out and we talk to the coaches, the superintendent, city administrator, and we get the information, our stories from their mouths. So
Sure.
That's still important.
Well, and I think, excuse me for my viewpoint, but you do the research, you found out the facts, and you report it according to what you've seen. Where online, sometimes it's more sensational.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
You find that same in sports?
Yeah, I think it's huge now. I read a lot of Facebook and a lot of Twitter now, social media, and then kind of like you have to trust you have to know which sources are legitimate and which ones aren't, because there's a lot of information across the board, and so you gotta, if I see something from radio stations and other newspapers, I use it, or coaches that I know that are talking about signings or where kids are going and that type of information. Yeah, that's changed a lot, and actually you get a lot of tips that way. Whereas before you used to maybe have somebody call, but now you almost have to keep your eyes on social media and then you have to filter out what's real and what's not. And that might be the toughest part of it.
Tell me about the process. Start with you, Brooke. The process of putting a story together. How does it work?
Well, first we do the interview or cover, a meeting, and then pretty much start writing right away, since we're a daily newspaper.
Sure.
Very quick turnaround time. So get all the information, make phone calls if we need to find additional info.
Do you kind of know ahead? Obviously, if there's an event going on, you know ahead. But as far as the personal stories, do you know quite a ways in advance, or usually like even a couple days or a day you might know and say, I got to get this together. This is cool.
It varies. Sometimes it's like we get a tip that, hey, this is happening right now.
Sure.
And we'll go out. But sometimes it's like, I know an event's next week, put it on my calendar and I can be there.
Is there a difference for what you do in what you prepare for the weekend editions compared to the weekday?
We do try to save kind of our bigger, more feature stories for Saturday's edition, but I think every day has good things in it.
Sure. When you say that, is that in length as well as photographs and such?
Yeah. Saturday's stories are typically longer.
Okay.
Stories.
More detail. Okay. Charlie, as far as sports coverage, tell us a day in the life of Charlie.
Yeah, I think, I usually have it organized I'm usually 2 weeks ahead, kind of map it out. One of the best things in my job that's ever happened is the high schools now have a thing called the R School, and it lists all their schedules throughout the year, and it gives you updates daily through your phone. That helps a lot, and then just kind of plan it out, and then kind of do your background research, find out what their records are, what they've done, and then go cover the event, and then it's a quick turnaround. You get done like at 9:30. Usually have to have everything done up to the house print by 12:20.
So you put some time in. Well, the deadlines, it's a daily newspaper, so is there a lot of juggling for both of you? Like, okay, we'll put this here, this there, move this and such? Or is it pretty cut and dry?
I mean, anything local we like to be in the paper. It's
Okay.
better to have local than AP filler.
Absolutely.
So.
memorable assignments that you've each had. Start with you, Brooke. What stands out as one or two that you're like, wow, was that fun to cover?
Memorable. There's some pretty big projects going on right now. The school's new vocational center that
Sure.
they're building is good. Otherwise, I did a story a few years ago for a veterans special section. I interviewed
That's
a
awesome.
woman who's 103
Wow.
at the time, so now she's 105. But that was
She's still with us?
Yeah, she was a nurse in the Army, so good story.
That's awesome. And Charlie?
I'm currently working on 6-page section, shameless plug for Friday's paper, on the Fairmont football team playing in the state quarterfinals.
Very cool.
Write a couple of features on, 4 features on them and about their accomplishments this year.
And historically, Charlie, because 31 years I keep saying over and over because I'm still kind of in shock that you've been there 31 years, especially when you're, what, 40, 42, somewhere in that ballpark?
Yeah, I started when I was a small lad
That's right.
off the streets. Yeah.
So in 31 years, there has to be one that stands out saying, now that was an interesting story.
Actually, mine is kind of, it's not a fun story. I mean, it's like the one I think I remember the most is covering Jared Bly. He was the first kid I ever met when I came here. He was 10 years old. And when he was 27, he passed away of cancer.
Wow.
And yeah, it's like I got to talk to him about 3 months before he passed away, and at 27, and that was one of those weird things that kind of puts it all in perspective for you, that like the games we cover are important to the kids and the schools and the communities, but you know, to sit there and lose a kid that was as influential as he was and people just thought the world of him, and to sit there and watch him lose his battle, that was tough.
Sure.
You know, it was tough. But then on the other hand, it's great to see, like Ava Turfer right now is battling cancer at 15 years old in Fairmont High School, and she's such a tough kid. It's great to see her and the community support her through like the Tackle Pink and the all the programs, and people bought T-shirts to support it, and she's giving all the money that we've raised to the Ronald McDonald House, which is a thing I experienced as a kid, where the Ronald McDonald House supplies money to help people for their housing costs and expenses while you're there with family members while they're getting treated for cancer.
Sure. Well, it sounds like both of you not only writing stories, but you're very involved in the community and have obviously become part of the community in a big way. So we want to thank you both for what you do for us, and we enjoy reading your articles and finding out what's happening in our community. And we would welcome you to come back again and see us.
Sure.
Thank you much.